Walter Gropius, meg a több magyar származású tanítványa volt.
Igen.
A Breuer Marcel például, vagy a Moholi Nagy László. Hát ez az irányzat, ez az építészeti irányzat, ez, aki szereti az építészetet,
azt is szeretem, persze.
Fölfedezhet benne.
Uh-huh. This is the entrance to the Radio and Television Museum of Budapest.
Rövid hullámú adóberendezés volt, egy 100 kW teljesítménnyel az utolsó időben. Brown Boveri Company, a BBC, tehát nem a British Broadcasting.
Igen.
Azt készítette meg, maradt itt még 2 belőle.
Igen.
Ezekkel a berendezésekkel dolgoztak utoljára jelenetkel főleg. Itt meg látható olyan történelmi erekje, 1930-as évekből ez a székesfehérvári rövid hullámú rádióadónak voltak a varióméterei, hangoló tekercsei, óriási méretű, ugye?
Igen. És ez mint egy potenciométer, vagy igen? Ilyen nagyok?
Igen.
Oh, jaj.
Hát igen, mert otthon a rádión egy kis tekerőgombot csak. Nézze meg onnan, hogy milyen forgató gombok voltak hozzá, nem is gombok, egy vas öntvény tekerő.
These were the knobs to turn these potentiometers to a different value.
Exactly as you said.
These potentiometers were built in the 1930s.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here is the one which was built in 1920s.
1920?
20-as évek, igen.
Yeah.
20s.
This one was built in the 1920s.
Yeah, it's 5 kilowatt
5 kilowatt?
output. Shortwave, for shortwave radio.
Uh-huh.
And as you can see, the liquid coolant, folyadékhűtéses.
Aha. It was liquid cooled.
Yeah. Some visitor used to make a joke.
Oh.
You are boiling a pálinka.
You are boiling pálinka. Okay, let's go up. Köszönöm szépen.
Érdemes, kicsit meleg lett itt, érdemes levenni a kabátot, mert beakasztom az irodámba, jó? Addig, mert az az igazság, hogy tegnap volt egy nagy eső itt.
Igen.
Múlt héten meg kánikula volt itt. Majdnem 40 centigrade volt.
Úristen.
És akkor a fölmelegtek a falak.
This is a prototype television.
Where to start? Let's start with the
Hát kronológikusan talán?
wireless radio.
Uh-huh.
Mondjam magyarul, vagy angolul inkább?
Ahogy szereti. Ja, hát angolul az is jó, akkor a nézőknek.
The first wireless experiences in Hungary was started in 1904 between Csepel, as you can see the island belongs to Budapest now, with a big antenna, as I mentioned, and Újpest. By that time, Újpest was not belonging to the Budapest, it was a separate city.
Yes.
It's around 20-25 kilometers, and it was disturbing by the high voltage as underground and something like that.
Yes.
That's why they decide to move to the sea, the Adriatic Sea.
Yes.
By the time, we are talking about Austria-Hungary period, Hungary had a separate city, Fiume, now called Rijeka, from 1914, so last year was 100 years old.
Yes.
It's a wireless telegraph station, only the receiver part we have remained, because after the First War, when the Royal Romanian Army occupied Hungary, they took the transmitter part, yes, exactly, and we have left only this one, but this is the oldest one.
I see.
It was produced in 1922 by the German Erich F. Huth Gesellschaft in Berlin, and it was the first wireless device for transmitting not just radio telegraph, but radio telephone signals.
So speech.
Speech, exactly.
Yes.
So the first mobile phone was that size. Big.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
That's really big.
And as you can see, there is a book from 1937,
Yes.
and you can see that this Hood station, the complete state of the Hood station,
Yes.
and the backside of the station, you can see that Hood part,
Yes.
which was responsible for the antenna, fine tuning of the antenna. This part I found in the warehouse, and I'm very happy that because in my plan that I would like to, because we have found in the library of the Postal Museum the original circuit diagram produced by Hood Berlin with their stamp on it.
So the absolute original schematic.
Absolute original one. It was produced March 8 of 1922. And the first experiences in Hungary was started the next year, in the first week of March 1923.
Yes.
And it was still, it was inactive till the day in 1925, the 1st of December, when the broadcasting started in Hungary, the daily broadcasting.
The daily
started.
broadcasting,
And
yes.
I will show you. There are three main parts of this transmitter produced by the German Telefunken.
Telefunken, yes.
It was 2 kilowatts.
2 kilowatts.
Yeah. The Hood, I was talking only 250 watts.
Ah.
So 1/4 of one. So 8 times
as powerful.
More powerful. Unfortunately, these two parts,
Yes.
the left and the right side,
Yes.
they were destroyed during the years of the communists because they were thinking that in 1919, when the Russian Soviet revolution started,
Yes.
with Lenin and the Hungarian Soviet revolution,
Yes.
was making
Communication.
communication, but it was of course produced years later, and they just throw away to the trash. And when my colleagues in the past went to the place where they put in the trash, they have only find this central position place.
Which is this one?
Yeah, unfortunately. But I can show you that it will be the 90 years of anniversary,
Yes.
1st of December. So we are proud. First of all, I would like to show you something.
Yes.
They call race type microphone in the marble block.
A marble block?
Eugen Reis was in Hungarian. He was born in Hungary.
Yes.
And later he moved to Austria.
Yes.
And he working for von Lieben. And afterwards he had a separate company in Germany.
Yes.
And I can show you. We call it rice type microphone.
Rice type microphone.
In the 1930s.
Nice. Buster Keaton.
Buster Keaton, exactly. The celebs by that area.
yes. Celebrities from the 1920s and 30s.
Graf von Arco, the president of the Telefunken company, the famous German.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. It's nice to see things of that era. You rarely see those things anymore. It's very rare to see them. It's nice. Yes.
The first standstill picture only, the first televisions could transmit standstill pictures.
Yes.
I mean, not motion pictures.
Yes.
And this MD is, stands for Mihály Dénes, the Hungarian-born world-famous inventor who worked together with Baird, for example. Here you can see Mihály Dénes.
Yes.
And he was very unlucky because he was showing his device during the 1919, when Hungary was a Soviet-type revolution.
Yes.
And after they failed in 1920,
Yes.
all of the people who was connecting with the Reds, I mean the communists,
Yes.
they were fired, you know, and Mihai Dénes should emigrate to Germany.
Yes.
And in Germany, he established a company called Telehor,
Yeah.
Aktiengesellschaft, and this is a replica only, unfortunately a replica.
Yeah.
But the first TV set transmitting a stencil picture was like this.
And was it mechanical television?
Of course, it
yes.
was a mechanical. You know the Nipkow disc?
Yes.
The first, with the Nipkow. You know,
The Nipkow
had
disc,
a disc
yeah.
with drilled holes.
Yes, but in
the
a spiral,
photocells.
eh?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And it was driven by an electric engine. Experimental television transmitting in the beginning of the 1950s only.
Yes.
While in the Germans, before the Second World War, I mean the Berlin Olympics Games in 1936, they had their television transmissions.
Ah, yes.
And, of course, not for every people, but the high, for example, National Socialist Party's top leaders
Yes.
had TV sets in their homes.
Really?
And they could watch
television.
from the Olympics game from Berlin, 1936.
That's interesting.
But look at this, the very big size, and also. If you look at the screen, the
Yes.
Telefunken logo you can see in the top.
Yeah.
Because by time there was no Hungarian producer who were able to produce with that kind of technology, TV screens, TV sets like
Yes.
So it was the very first experimental TV.
Yes.
And those ones in the 1950s, beginning of the mid 50s.
Yes.
There was importing from the Soviet Union. This code is Leningrad, and this code is Avantgarde. It's in the Cyrillic alphabet. Avantgarde.
But it's Cyrillic.
Yes, Cyrillic alphabet. That's why it's a little bit funny to read it. I was learning Russian for 10 years, I think. So I can recall of the capitals.
Leningrad.
Yeah, Leningrad, in St. Petersburg.
And where did you find these TVs? Because I can imagine it was difficult to find them.
Very difficult. They are very expensive now.
Yes.
But 20, 30 years ago,
Yes.
when those TV sets were not in use anymore, because they are black and white TVs, of course.
Yes.
By time there was not color TV in Hungary. And they were belonging to the rich guys, doctors, lawyers, bankers, some Communist Party leaders.
Yes.
And they were simply offered to buy it or just give as a present to the Coastal Museum.
I see. So you got these as a present, really?
Some of them we got as a present, some of them we paid. This is the first. It's work with transistors.
It's a transistor television.
Transistors.
Yes.
It's from France. End of the 1960s, beginning of the 1970s. As you can see, it can be closed. Number one.
That's the Orion
Yeah,
TV,
yeah.
yes?
It's a number one. It's produced in the summer of 1956, the very same year when the autumn, 23rd of October, the revolution broke out against the Soviet regime. And as you can see, the number two
Yes.
is another type of Orion. Number three,
Yes.
it's very interesting because compressed built-in radio.
Yes.
And by the time it was very popular, and it was very expensive, of course.
I see.
By time in Hungary there was a typical Soviet type producing. They decide for that year we produce 50 pieces of this TV. But if the demand was higher, I mean 70 or 100 people would like to buy it.
Yes.
It was only produced the half of the quantity.
I see.
So it was not so easy.
Yeah. So it was a very difficult product to get, really.
Yes, and it was very expensive. For example, the number one.
Yes. That TV over there.
In 1956 was 5,990 forints. It was around 10 months average salary. For
10 months salary.
Yeah, 10 months salary. So can you imagine it? If you go, for example, for a monthly salary, you can buy as big LCD TV as you want. Huh? But by the time, almost a year, you have to work for this TV set.
Jesus.
So it was very...
And these TVs, is this an evolution in time?
Yes, in evolution.
Is it chronological?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
I see.
The 29,
Yes?
the Videcolor,
Yeah.
was belonging to the very first Hungarian TV sets in the end of the 1960s, beginning of the 1970s.
Yeah.
And it was almost 30,000 forints by the time. Top leaders almost worked for a year for that money.
1 year.
Almost a year for that. And it was only produced a couple of pieces. You know?
And if you say 30,000 forints back then, how much money is that nowadays?
I will tell you in euro or euro as you call it.
Yeah.
10,000.
10,000
€10,000
euros.
euros.
That's incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
I'm astonished that people could pay that.
But just the size
Yes.
will be show the way
Yes.
of the portable television.
So this is this a color camera
Yeah.
or yes? So this was a color camera from the 1970s
Yeah, it was produced in France.
in France. So it's Paul Secam?
Yes.
Paul Secam. Okay.
The portable televisions like this. This is a Russian units, but they are Hungarian, produced by Videoton, Tünde and Minividi. When I was a kid, I had the same one, same white
Really?
color one, and I was very happy with this.
And you still have it?
I have.
You have it?
Yeah, my kids have. They own now. And the typical Hungarian family in the end of the 1960s, you know, the family together,
Yes.
watching TV,
Watching a television
watching
set.
TV together, and it was a very common one. By time it was a while ago for more and more people.
Yes.
But if you look the screen diameter, this is a small one.
30 centimeters or something like that, yes. And is the brand, is that Lavor or something?
Tavas.
Tavas.
The spring.
Ah, okay, spring. Yeah.
And you can see the bird, the swallow.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
swallow. It's
Rigo, no?
No, Rigo is a blackbird.
Ah,
Swallow
Yeah.
is a Fetchke.
Fetchke.
Schwalbe in Deutsch.
Yeah.
Schwalbe. Signal interval. The first signal interval. When the radio broadcasting was stopping, for
Yeah.
example, at midnight,
yes,
it was like a telegraph clockwork mechanism.
yes.
You wind up, and afterwards there was like music boxes, you know, the cylinder turned.
Yes,
with the
yes.
keys, It was transmitting to the air.
And all these radios, are they...
Except the number 7, the Minerva, was produced in Austria.
Yeah.
All of them produced in Hungary.
They are
From
all
a
Hungarian?
smaller producers to the bigger, like the Hungarian Philips, Hungarian Telefunken, standard electric, Hungarian standard electric, and Tungstran, by the Orion. So they were produced all in Hungary.
Yeah.
When we started in the mid-1920s
Yes.
till the mid-1960s. It's around 40 years, 35, 40
You
years.
see the
range.
53 over there?
Yeah.
I have one.
Really?
Yes, at home. I have the 53. I restored it, and it was a lot of work. I'm still working on it, actually, but yes, I was glad to find it.
If we one day started, how many working hours we spent for restoration, or wife get divorced. No?
Are all these radios restored, or are they in their original condition?
More or less restored, but some of them original condition. It's not so easy because in Hungary, as you can see, the evolution of the radio tubes.
Yes.
I can show you a different here. And you know, during the Second World War, after the German occupation,
Yes.
in 1944, and the 19th of March.
Yes.
You know, first of all, the radio sets must be handed over to the authorities.
Why?
First of all, for the Jewish people,
Yes.
and after all, for everybody. Not to listen to BBC, not to listen to the enemy's voice.
Ah, yes, yes,
That's
yes.
why. That's
Yes.
why. Very limited for crystal detectors radio.
Crystal
from the
detector radio,
31st,
yes.
yeah. You know, not to listen to the enemy's radio. You know, not to make an inner uprising, for example.
Yes,
with the
yes,
Germans.
yes.
They simply change the sockets of the radio,
Yeah.
rebuild the radio.
They rebuilt the radio.
That's why it's
yeah?
very hard to find 100% Genie original inside of a radio.
Ah, yes,
That's why
yes.
if you are lucky to find one with an original state,
Yes.
you are very, very lucky, first of all, and it's very good. For example, if you buy something for 100 euros, in a couple of years, it will be getting higher to 300, 400 euros.
So the value will
The value
rise. Is this a tube tester?
Yeah, it's an early tube tester.
I have a tube tester at home, but it doesn't look anything like this. This is from the 1920s, I think, no?
1940, I think. It's in
1940?
1940s. Yes, in the very beginning of 1940s.
I see. Well,
Very first sub-miniature tubes.
Sub-miniature
Sub-miniature
tubes. Yeah. And do you have an example of that tube? No.
No, not yet.
I
Not
see.
yet.
Nice. And where do you find these? On a flea market or?
Yeah, more or less they could buy in the flea markets and private collectors offering.
I see. Supervevő. Ah, a super heterodyne radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
But the first radios like this can use with inside the car.
Yes.
And if you just remove from a car and if you go to...
Is
for
this a
example,
car
for a
radio,
beach,
that one?
Yeah. Car radio type.
Ah,
The first
car
of-
radio type, yes.
First of all,
Yeah.
those radios could be used in the car
Dashboard,
and
yeah.
dashboard, and if you go, for example, to the beach,
You could take it
seaside,
with you.
Yeah.
Funny. Uh-huh. A phonograph. A very old one, a mechanical
yeah, this is very
one.
old one, mechanical one from the beginning of the 1930s. For somebody traveled and then for a picnic it was very useful thing, you know.
Pixie gripper. To use the pixie gripper. It's an English one.
Yeah.
I see. Nice. Supraphone. Is that a Hungarian brand, Supraphone?
No.
No?
That's-
Which of these tone recorders here are Hungarian?
The Mambo and the Erkel and the Terta, they are all Hungarian producers.
These are all Hungarian.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Erkel, a famous composer,
Yes.
Ferenc Erkel. Terta is a telephone gyár, RT, I mean...
Terta
the-
Telephone
yeah,
Company,
yeah.
yes.
And this one was called Mambo.
Mambo, yes.
It's a Hungarian from BHG company, BHG.
And that's a modern one, I see.
Yes, this is a modern one.
Yes.
Galenite crystal, they used diodes, and germanium diodes.
Yes. And here are these are coils, antenna coils or IF coils?
Of course.
IF coils. Interesting. Yes, and these are early tubes.
These are early tubes, cathode ray tubes.
Yes. Also Hungarian made, or?
Yeah, you can see the Tungsten logo on it.
Where?
The T.
Where do you see the T? Ah, there. Yes, yes,
upside
yes.
down.
Yes,
Upside
upside.
T.
Yeah. I see. And miniature tubes too, I see.
Yeah. This is Vidicon.
Vidicon. Okay.
Soviet bloc's countries.
Yes. And this is military equipment.
Yeah, it's military radio. It's not directly linking or not directly belonging to the radio television museum, but 20 years ago, when the Hungarian army was dismantled some stations, they just offered us to get it for free.
Yes.
This is an interesting because this was produced in 1939 by the Royal Hungarian Army. This is a R7A receiver.
Yeah.
Receiver radio. So this is
Hungarian.
And the oldest one.
And the oldest one, yes.
Yeah. This is a funny.
This is what?
The box is missing.
Yes.
The Pile and Finger by Telefunken. They left here in 1944 in the airport of Papa.
Really?
Yeah, when the German troops.
When the Germans escaped, they left it here.
This antenna part is unfortunately not original, but the gonio, this gonio head is an original one. It's an expensive one. Even some knobs are missing.
I see.
You can see the Telefunken Pile and
Yeah.
Finger.
So this is actually a World War II radio.
It's World War II, definitely.
Wow.
Because the German just left here.
Yeah. This is really a relic then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to get the missing box for it.
Yes.
I have some good friend in Holland and this.
In Holland. Yes.
Remco, for example, Remco Kaspers and those guys who has very big knowledge about this period.
Yes.
And they are happy. We are trying to help each other, you know.
I see. Very interesting from a historical point of view to see all these things.
Yes.
And if you know the history behind it, it makes it even more interesting to hear all those things. I really like that.
From 1942.
So it's a muziekgerät.
Muziekgerät.
And what is this then? A stereo or something like that?
6 loudspeakers.
6.
This is by that area. It was a most expensive radio and gramophone. So it's a typical World War II relics.
So and this one is from 1942. You say.
Siemens.
Nice.
And it's working.
And it works. Fantastic.
For the kids, for students, how to switch on the radio and the TV and how to listen to the LP and so on.
Yes, because kids nowadays, they don't know record players anymore.
They even don't know how to dial with a dial telephone.
Really?
Really. This radio emitter station.
Yes. This is Morse radio.
Yeah, Morse radio.
Nice.
It's, from the end of the 1940s. The short waves they used, and this is a quite different life, because they are changing each other's the QSL card, you know, and they are just transmitting signals every minute. And, sub clocks receive the signals and move and strikes.
I see. It synchronizes the clocks. Yes.
Minute by minute.
I see. So this was actually like the speaking clock in on the telephone.
Yes, and also they are using in the railway stations nowadays and the big cities, you know.
Yes.
From one central transmitters, if you go to every part of the town,
Yes.
The sharp time will be shown by this.
I see.
Devices.
Yes.
The end of the 1950s, middle of the 1950s, end of the 1950s, Hungarian Mechanical Labor, this ML stands for Mechanical Labor,
Yes.
produced for doctors and rich guys,
Yes.
lawyers.
Oh my God.
Look at this. It's in
A tape recorder
a tape recorder
and a phonograph. Supraphone.
Yeah, exactly, and it's a bar. It's like a mini bar.
Ah, it's a bar.
Missing brandies, cognacs, whiskeys, and.
That's a nice little detail.
Yeah.
Yes.
But those, look at this, a big, very nice. For example, this colonial style. Colonial style, we call it. You know, they were not just consumer electronics, but they are separate furnitures.
Aha. Yes. A piece of furniture, actually. Yes. It's incredible how technology changed over, say, 50 years. Nowadays, something like this would be, I don't know, perhaps 40 centimeters on 10 centimeters.
And no plastic, just bakelite.
Bakelite, yes.
Wooden and the glass.
And why does this?
We cannot, unfortunately,
sorry.
no problem.
You can't open it, yes. I see. Fantastic.
I think it's closed.
It's closed. Yeah.
That's why I cannot.
Yeah. No problem. I was just curious to see the other parts.
It should be the very same.
Yeah.
Because it's a couple of years, I think 3 years difference between these two.
3 years difference between those two.
Yeah. And the very same company produced the Hungarian Mechanical Labor.
I see. Okay. A television camera from?
The first closed chain camera.
Yes.
In the 1960s.
1960. Hungarian?
Yes, Hungarian.
Interesting. And where do you find these? Where did you find this one, for example?
We have received as a present.
From MTV or?
No, it was used in one of the secondary school, and it was a closed chain camera system.
Yes.
And you know the technology so speedily or rapidly
changed
that after a couple of years they have to buy new stuff.
Yes.
And not to throw away, just to offer for a museum, to give it to the museum.
I see.
This is a camera too.
This is a camera, yes.
Yeah. Some commercial, there is some commercial.
Ipari televízió camera, yes.
And look at the joystick, that very joystick.
Yeah, really. This is a tape puncher.
Tape puncher.
I see.
You know the tape puncher is used in the telex machines?
For telex. Yes. And where?
Telex.
Is that the telex?
This one is a telex.
I see.
There's a Czech one. It's very probably no. But license Siemens, of course.
Yeah.
There's a label license Siemens.
Mr. Gábor, you showed me around in your beautiful museum, and we thank you all for that, of course. There is one last question I would like to ask you. You showed me around and you show all these old pieces, and could you, in your opinion, why is it important that we restore and keep all these machines working?
You know, if we are not restoring them, we are not able to demonstrate for the young people and all the visitors. It's different, I mean the age I'm talking about. Because without the restoration of an antique radio, to hear the original voice from the old dynamics loudspeakers, you are not able to imagine how much did it give to you.
Mm-hmm. I see. And if you would have a message for future generations, I mean, in regard to technology and electronics, what would you tell future generations?
I will suggest a thing. Please save the past antique stuff. I mean, if you are able to get from a flea market, from eBay, from different sources, and you have a money in your pocket, please try to save it for the futures, because in a couple of years ago there were so many things to go in waste. I mean, go to the trash, throw to the garbage, and right now we are at the very end of we are in the 21st hours, I may say. And if we are not thinking to save for the future generation, for our kids, for our grandkids, there will be no museums. All the museums in the world will be closed.
I see. Mr. Gábor, thank you very much.
You're welcome.